duties to Bill Ripken for the Super Demo.
All right, well, I'm going this way, and we're going to talk about some communication to begin with. A first and third scenario that comes up. We got a catcher, my 6'5" left-handed second baseman. I'll play short. Johnny Hart, going back to your managerial days in the minor leagues.
Down in San Pedro de Macorís.
Down in San Pedro when Dave Valley was catching in first and third, we never ran
Or in Rochester when you gave me really good news and I got to get out of Rochester and come to Baltimore.
That was one of the best conversations ever. But we did this a lot. First and third, look, there's a couple of things. Number one, what's the situation? What's the score? Who's the catcher? Who's the hitter? Who's on deck? I mean, you've got to factor all those things in. And you've got a couple of things you can do. You can hold the ball. You can throw over. You can throw the ball through. You can just hold the ball. The catcher can just hold it. So what I always like to do for the pitcher, if it's first and third, I want to get a read. I would always like to give the catcher the sign that I might want the pitcher to throw over the first time or step off and see if I can see something, right? So I would give that sign to Val. Val would relay the sign, and we either step off or throw over. But now we're getting down.
Let me cut you off real quick, because Danny threw one in on me, and I'll be the right-hand pitcher. So if you give Val,
I give Val the
first and third, the throw over. By me, or step off. Okay. Let's say step off for argument purposes, so Danny can chime in.
All right, here we go.
So I'll be the runner at first base.
So Billy, he's there. Step off.
Okay. So now when I come set, Danny, did Jim Leland like this?
Oh, no. No. That will get you back to Rochester.
So, with Jim Leland, if there's going to be a step-off, there's a reason you want the step-off, because you want to see if there's any jumping. So, if I'm in that position, I get the step-off, and I'm a right-hander, I go like this. You want something like that.
And I say, now he's going. I've got to smell that he's going, or I don't, but now I've got to make the play.
All right, let's go back to our positions here in the middle, Danny. And now, so after you do some of that, what might you relay to the catcher for him to relay to us on what we're going to do, throwing through or holding?
All right. Normally it's either throw through or hold. And when I'm given a sign, it would be the last one. If I wanted to throw through, I'd be here. If I wanted to hold, I'd finish with here. And the catcher's going to hold the ball. We give him second and third, and then we might want to walk and set up a double play. A lot of different options. So I'll come into Val. I'll look at it.
So I'm going to come out, throwing through.
All right, so that's important for us to know and everybody be on the same page, because if you're holding, we don't have to cover on a first and third to second base. So our communication is I'm going, all right, dude, he's throwing through, so look at me every pitch. And I just verbally tell Dan that one right there. So if you want to hold, you're going to do what?
I'm going to come back. I'm going to do the same thing, and this time I end on the belt. So that's my hold.
So you went across the chest. So I said, Danny, we're not worried about it right here. They're going to give up the bag. Because we don't want to go here, especially if this guy's running and one of us is covering second base and we're not throwing through. That makes no sense whatsoever. So that's a little bit of the communication going on in the middle.
So the other one, Billy, on a throw through. So Johnny, give me a throw through. So on this one, you're throwing through. Now the guy's going to take off. Okay?
Okay.
And this guy is thinking about doing a double steal. So I come up, imaginary baseball. I come up and I'm throwing to you now. This guy just took off for a steal.
All right, so Danny, I gave you coverage. You got it.
Here comes the pitch. Here he comes, and the runner takes off. Now, Dan can start coming in and shortening up that throw and just let that guy run, but we want this run. We don't want this guy to score.
Right.
He can have second base. I got to make sure that that man at third base does not score or stays there.
So Dan, on the question right here would be the throw through. Do you really have time as the catcher to check him first and throw through, or are we just aborting that to a degree to throw here and think we can get it done?
If I want any chance to throw that guy out, I can come up and take a look and then do that. It's 99 out of 100. That guy's going to be safe. So if I do want it, and Johnny wants me to get that out at third, maybe there's a slow runner over here, and he's like, hey, no, let's make sure we throw this guy out. Then I'm just coming up and throwing, and then I'm going to let you guys decide, because you'll have a better look. You'll be able to see if he's taking off, and then you can come and shorten that throw and hopefully get it, 8 or 9 feet in front of the bag. to come here and give me that ball back for the tag.
And,
Okay,
you know, listen, one other thing, too, and that's a great point, because if you've got Trey Turner and, you know, you've got Billy Hamilton at third, the chances are you're not throwing through. You're holding the ball.
I'm going to give a pump fake.
If he wants to go. And you're going to give a pump fake. You're going to hold it. Or you'll go right to third base. But you're not going to – we're not going to risk it when you've got that much speed on the base. It's a tricky play. You work on it a lot in spring training, but you don't work on it a lot during the season.
All right, so let's say this guy does swipe the bag, right? This guy was on second before. Danny's on the bump, so now you're not a left-handed specialist, 6'5", second baseman anymore. You're on the bump. But we want to change up the signs with this. So, Johnny, if you're the manager, are you putting on, or the bench coach or the pitching coach, are we relaying sign to Val on what pitches we want thrown? And Val and Dan, I've got to be in tune with this with my middle infield partner, because I got to know what sign's coming too, because I got to know which way to cheat or lean when something's happening.
Well, Billy, in our day, it was a little bit different. So if Dan came out on the mound, I know what signs he likes.
Right.
And typically, I would have at least 2 sets of signs with him. So sometimes, for instance, maybe first sign after 2. Some guys like scoreboard signs, like ahead, behind, or even, meaning if I'm ahead in the count, 0-1, 0-2, it's going to be the first sign. Ahead, behind, if I'm behind in the count, it'll be the second sign. 1-0, 2-0. If it's even in the count, it'll be the third sign. Ahead, behind, and even. Some guys, a lot of pitchers don't want too much happening.
Yeah, that's too much for me to sit there and look at right there, because I didn't want any part of that. Danny, I guarantee you didn't want the aim.
What did you like? What did you use?
I would like either the last sign or first sign after 2.
Okay.
That's what I was comfortable with.
So
and then you have to change up depending on certain teams. There were certain teams that you had a pretty good idea that had good base runners that were relaying signs, and you might have to change that up during the course of an inning.
kind of like your guys, Milwaukee.
Yes,
Yeah,
Dan.
Like Toronto.
Yeah, I like those guys. Yes.
Well, you know, the other thing, too, you know, now if you've got second and third, it's where you're going to play your infield.
Okay.
And I think that once you're at second and third, if you make the decision that you're not going to walk this guy and you're playing back, you don't want that guy to score. And if you've got one out, that's when you might be putting some plays on. That might be something that, you know, but a lot of times guys would use the inside move. They do it on their own, but they're going to keep that guy a little closer. But, you know, if you've got the infield in, you're playing to get this guy here. If you've got the infield back, you don't want that guy to score.
Bill, I got one dangerous play that you'll see maybe teams use in the postseason with a young left-handed pitcher.
Yes.
First and third situation with 2 strikes.
All right, so
2 strikes, and it looks like
I'll be the runner on
you're in
first.
pretty good shape that you can get this hitter out. And this is what you really have to guard against. You have a runner at third base, and you're looking at this guy at first. You have 2 strikes, and you have on your mind, I want to get the hitter. And then you're paying attention, but you lose focus on this guy at third. You come up like this, and all of a sudden, he takes off, and you step off, and they want you to throw the ball to first base, particularly with a guy that can run on third. And with the lefty, what you really have to guard against is the temptation to come up, and I see Billy do that stutter, and then this is just what he wants. He wants me to make this throw to first base, and that's the key for the guy at third to break it home.
As soon as you lift your leg to go to first, he's gone.
He's going.
He's gone.
If I'm not mistaken, Scotty, walk on in here. If I'm not mistaken, my brother's first stolen base, Junior, not a base stealer, his first stolen base in the big leagues, he was on third base. That play happened with a young left-hander, and I think Doug DeSensei was the guy over here, if my memory serves me correct. They did the play where he kind of leaned, he broke, lefty goes like, oh, I got him, and he throws over, and by that happens, it's too late.
Yeah, and you know, that was something, again, with Baltimore. They were not known for stolen bases, but that was something that was worked at down in Miami on the little fields. Earl Weaver was a huge believer in that, and I remember Cal, your dad, would come over and he'd say, look, that left-hander, here's our play. He lifts his leg, and he makes any move over there, you're gone, and you walk in there.